As mentioned and introduced by Dr. Mazwana just now, I'm Sharul Nizam Ahmad. I'm a senior lecturer in chemistry from Faculty of Blood Sciences, UITM Shah Alam. So I believe all of you are from UITM, kan? But not all of you from UITM Shah Alam. Okay? And if we may, probably for a better interaction and for a better session, probably all of you can on your video supaya we can have a better interaction and better session. Yeah. There are actually two main parts of the session today. I was supposed to be taking the second part, which on the charisma, which should be later, but due to some commitments that I have set prior, I have to be starting the session first, but still on the charisma. So the Amy later will be taking another part, which is on comprehension and also on the content. Yeah. First and foremost, before we start, is that okay if I merely ask everyone to turn your video on so we can have the first exercise for today? Ada sedikit exercise yang nak buat ni before we start. But I need to see you on the screen. Yeah. Thank you, Zaki. Yang lain-lain boleh ke? Can I give you about 15 to 20 seconds to get ready and to turn your video on so that we can have this first session started? Thank you, Rosmalia. Looking good, looking great, don't worry. Okay, lagi? Yang lain-lain? Boleh ke? Okay, thank you, Nur Hasman. Looking great. Don't worry, don't worry how you look. Kita nak belajar how to speak. Grooming nanti belajar later. Dr. Aimi boleh ajar grooming and things like that. Yeah. Thank you, Z, for joining. I bet you are not Malaysian. You are expatriate. Am I right? Yes.
Yes, I come from China.
Yeah. Okay. So I should be using full English then. Okay.
Yes.
Where's the rest? I need to see faces. Now, before we start on that very exercise, I would like to brief on the rubric and the judging criteria of 3MT first. I believe some of you might have been aware of what is required for 3MT, but then again, it is always best for us to revisit. Yeah, and later on, after we have seen all the criteria on how you will be judged, we'll talk about charisma and also engagement. Yeah, allow me to share first the rubric. Let me see whether it works here. Tell me if you see what I see. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay. Now, this is the very form that your judges will be using when you're presenting your 3MT letter. Yeah. I was I was appointed as judges for 3MT a few times by IPSIS at UITM level, and I believe this is the form that we have used then. So presenter, your affiliation, and then the title. Later, the Taimi will talk a lot about how you frame your title and how you frame your content, yeah, according to the MT requirement. As you can see, there are two main parts, equally important based on the score: 7 for comprehension and content, 7 for engagement and communication. So as I said earlier, for the first part, this will be covered mostly by Dr. Aimi, and the second part will be covered by me. So you can see that for comprehension and content, presentation provided clear background and significance of the research question, and then presentation clearly described the research strategy, design, results, findings of the research. You have to focus and pay attention to this because I've noticed that some of the presenters, when they're presenting to the MT, they tend to dilute the research very much to the extent at which, at the expense of the importance of the research itself. Meaning, when you are trying to communicate your science to the public, it is good for you to dilute certain things. You have to diagonalize certain things. But it's also important for you to remember that this is 3MT, where you have to talk about your research findings and outcomes. And that being said, the findings of research must be there, the design and results must be there, no matter how diluted you want to have your science communicated to your public. Yeah. And then presentation clearly describe the conclusions, outcomes, and impact of the research. And again, and this will be thoroughly discussed later by Dr. Aimi. Now, on the second part is engagement and communication. As a judge, we wanted to see how clearly it is delivered, and the language was appropriate for a non-specialist audience. So I talked about diagonalizing earlier, and that's the very thing that we want to see from your presentation. And the more engaging and relatable your content is, the better it is. The PowerPoint also will be judged. This will be talked much by the Aimi also, but I would like to touch a bit on this, on how you frame and bundle and unbundle your PowerPoint so that will be appealing to the eyes of the public and judges. And last but not least, the presenter conveyed enthusiasm for their research and captured and maintained the audience attention. Now you have 3 minutes only. It's good for you to have the best hook and the best conclusion. Hook also will be covered Dr. Aimi later. Banyak Dr. Aimi cover ni. Okay. The presenter conveyed enthusiasm. So you have to make sure that you capture the attention of your audience from the first second that you talk until at the very last minute of your presentation. Yeah. If the first 30 seconds you cannot manage to capture the attention and forget about the last 2 minutes. Yeah. So even though 3 minutes is very short, but that 3 minutes will determine and decide whether your research is interesting to the eyes, to the ears of your listeners. Yeah. So make sure you pay attention later when you talk about how to grab the attention of the audience from the by varying the intonation of your presentation, as well as on how you beautify and frame your content on the slides, as well as on how you structure and organize your and synthesize your content from the hook to the end, to the conclusion. Yeah. Comparatively speaking, for 3MT, I didn't have much experience because I participated in 3MT once and I lost. But Dr. Aimi has a lot of much more experience. She's the winner at national level and also finalist at international level. But then again, I have some experience in science communication a bit. So from that experience, probably I can share with you what we can do to make your presentation much more engaging. Yeah. Okay, this is on the rubric. I think that is that. The total mark is 14, and I will normally put some comments here for the participant to improve. Like, for example, if your pace and speed is too fast, then I'll probably put some comments for you to slow down a bit. And if it is too technical, then probably I would advise you to diagnose certain technical terms and so on and so forth. Okay, that is on the judging part. Yeah, I'll stop sharing now. Okay, is everyone has everyone on your video? Can I see? Let me see.
Can I ask something?
Yes, this. Apa tu?
Kita guna PowerPoint, tak boleh guna Canva ke? Cannot.
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
Let me see. How to see last gallery? Boleh ke ini?
Canva, but then download as PowerPoint.
Okay.
Dia whatever you are using, whatever design tools you are using, import it to PowerPoint. Final, we are using PowerPoint.
Okay, because I found like when we use Canva, we can use infographic there. I mean the visual is better.
But maybe Dr. Aini and Dr. Shahrul will teach you or will share how you can produce a good image or a good graphic to present your research after this.
Sure.
Right.
That's Dr. Aimi's expertise. She's very good on it. Now, saya nak buat exercise sikit. Now, when we talk about presenting, my topic today will be on engagement and also charisma. But bear in mind that these 45 minutes of talk will not help you much. Yeah, it will take years of experience before you can really build up certain charisma. But that being said, doesn't mean that you cannot improve much within a short length of time. You can, provided you follow certain tips and tricks. But to be really an eloquent speaker and science communicator, it will take like many years. Yeah? And that's why, other than this 3MT, I encourage you to participate in other science communication competition as well. So from competition only, it will challenge you to be better at communicating on science. And you will be judged mercilessly by the judges, and you, from that comments onward, you improve yourself. Yeah. Now, first, I would like to have some vocal warm up. This vocal warm up is the very exercise that I practically do every day on my way to work, in a car, while I'm riding my motorcycle. This is what I do because this is how I make sure that my voice is not too raw, atau kita panggil sebagai your sleeping voice. Yeah. You know that the raw voice that you have the moment you wake up. That voice is normal for us. That morning voice, everyone has that morning voice. Am I right? So that morning voice can be your voice forever, for the whole day, if you don't do certain exercises. Like you don't talk to anyone from 8 to 12, for example, and suddenly you are required to speak something, to present on something, 12:30. So if you don't do any exercises and if you don't talk to anyone at all on that particular day, and that will disrupt your presentation. That's why this vocal warm-up exercise is very important. I would like to share this. Normally I use some other YouTube video, but for this session, for the sake of this session, I will use this daily vocal warm-up. It will take like 1 minute or so for us to exercise. That's why I need to see you, because the way you open your jaw is very important. Yeah, the way you pronounce certain things is very important. I don't. This is not only for English language. Yeah? For Malay language also, there are certain consonants and vowels that you have to pronounce correctly. Dalam, kalau mengaji kita panggil apa ini? Ada makhraj tertentu lah kan yang you kena sebut dengan betul. So it's very important. So that you will feel convinced. If I'm mistaken, if you represent Malaysia to Australia, there will be specific training for you to pronounce just like native speakers in Australia. Am I right? I mean, so that's how serious. So that's how serious they are about pronouncing things. Now, my English is not that good, yeah, because I pick up language from books. So I'm not using English daily. So that's how you can see my English is not that good. But for the sake of GMT, no matter how proficient you are, you can still work on your pronunciation. For the sake of GMT saja boleh sebenarnya. Yeah? Now, I would like to share this sekejap because I have only 2 slides, yeah, and this one vocal warm up. The rest 2 I would like you to test. Hi Farhana, looking good in blue tudung. Can you see what I see?
Okay, coming.
I'm not sure whether I have shared the audio together. Boleh ke dengar tidak? Dengar ke tu?
For the first warm up, we're going to do the
Can hear.
Can hear. Okay. Now, this is exercise for vowel. Apa kita punya vowel everyone? Can you be a little bit more participating? Or else you will fall asleep. What are vowels? Apa contoh vowel kita ada?
A, E, I, O, U.
Perfect. So A, E, I, O, U. Now, well, we don't have much problem when we speak daily about these vowels, but it can be a problem when you speak formally and professionally in front of scientific community, for example, because you will have some nerve, and that nervousness will kacau you lah. And this vowel exercise kena ikut rhythm yang macam biasa tu lah. Contohnya when I say okay, so kita kena ada some rhythm and some breath support. So normally people will always mistaken that this vocal exercise is for singer, but it's not only for singer. It's also for professional speaker, so that you can speak more confidently, and your projection will be much more rounded, in that sense. So kita tengok yang first ni, kena buka mic ni, nak guna exercise ni kena buka mic. Can you at least turn your mic on and we try the exercise together? I'll give you one example first, and then you follow later.
Vowel sounds A, E, O, U. Now,
Senang kan? Is that easy? Easy, right?
Yes.
Any singers here? Ada penyanyi kat sini. I'm not trying to teach ducks how to swim. I know some of you probably are professional singers. I'm sorry, but this is the very exercise that I do every time I want to speak. When I have speaking engagement. Now, kita nak try yang ni. Kita buat senang je ya. It's it doesn't have to be very melodious, but they have to be rhythmic in that sense. Yeah. Good try. 1, 2, 3.
try to sing along. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ada suara pun. Kejap. Okay. Kejap, cuba lagi We try one more time One more time. Lagi. I'm sorry, it doesn't sound like 30 people here. How many of you here? Macam 3 orang aja instead of 30. I can hear like 3 voices only. Bolehkah kita?
Namanya orang putih, doktor.
Wah, itulah dia. Ramai kan. So probably your voices macam dah dimakan lemang sikit kan. It's too much fat already in the voice. Can we eradicate some fat in the voice too and make it much more projected? So kalau kita cuba tak payah A lagi kita cuba A sahaja. Sometimes people don't like to open their mouth wide open. Dia macam malu-malu. Because if you want to be a really good speaker, you have to be ready to be exposed. Exposed in the sense that you're ready to be listened to, no matter how flawed that should be, and you should be able and you should be brave enough to be seen. Kena exposed. So, jangan tak boleh malu-malu, separuh-separuh hati. It cannot be half-hearted. Yeah. So can we do it without music first? Somehow probably some of us are not okay with music kan. Cuba tanpa music kot, better kot kan. Okay, I do first and then you follow. Kita buat A dulu because if you want to do this to consonants, and it will take a lot of time. Normally I will take like 20 minutes for this exercise alone. Now for A, it has to be really wide. Tak boleh macam tak mau, tak nak. I don't want the lazy ass. You have to be okay, you have to be very wide and bright. Okay. Make sure you have no one in front of you lah kan. Kalau tak kan, the morning breath can be killing. Okay. Jaga side. Can we do this? Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, good. Okay, even though it's a little bit late, but okay. Cuba lagi, kita cuba E. E tu boleh jadi ataupun E. Terpulang lah For E tu, it has to be E. You can feel kan you punya rahang ni will be much loose, yeah, and the vocal cord as well. Kita akan kedengaran because I can detect some voices sangat raw, very morning voice, so we can break that morning voice dengan cara ni. Cuba kita try ni. E. 1, 2 and 3. Wait. Doesn't have to be choral, doesn't have to be together. Just do it at your own pace. First. You put some vibrato at the end just to make it even more melodious. And then sebab kita vocal cord ni tak ketat sangat, it doesn't sound that tight. Okay, the last one, O. Yeah. It has to be okay. Thank you very much. Now, kita boleh buat satu consonant. Can we do one consonant? Normally, which consonant that you always struggle with? Which consonant you always struggle with?
R.
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 So my wife has this problem. Okay.
R.
Now we can use the same technique for R. Tapi kita letak dia sebagai ra. Contohnya ra. Kalau if you have struggled with M, you can use either one or ma. La. So this is how you overcome your problems or your struggle with pronouncing certain words or certain things. Ada orang S kan, orang dua masalah. R and S dia tebal, S dia macam sa. So it's okay to have that problem because somehow you born with it. Cuma make sure when you presenting you be very careful with those consonants. Yeah. Okay, we can start with R. Cuba ra. Can you try that? Those who are practicing this at home kan, nanti orang rumah kata apalah dia buat ni kan. So this is how you do your vocal exercise, yeah. And take some other consonants as you please. L, I have problems with L and S. So that's why I'm very careful with those consonants. La. L tu should be touching langit lah kan. I don't know what it is in English. So, la. So that's how you pronounce. Are you feeling better? Are you feeling a little bit loose now or not? Yes, no?
Yes.
But this is not one time exercise. Yeah, of course, it will take a lot of exercises before you can really master it. Now, next, saya nak share because I have about 20 more minutes. Any questions so far on this? I'd like to share the last 2 slides. And I have only 2 slides of mine on commanding the stage, on engagement, as well as on kita panggil tu charisma. So in science communication or in public engagement, in speaking engagement, there are always 3 things, 3C, yeah, content, clarity, and charisma. Content clarity you can learn from the IME letter. Charisma is the very thing that we're gonna be talking about. Anyone has any idea all what charisma is? Anyone at all? Farhana, Rosmanda, Saliha? Any idea at all what charisma is?
Charisma, if I may, please.
Yes, Norman.
Yeah, it's overall your body language and your persona, like how you present and how your body language deals with your presentation. So, like for example, if I'm speaking and my body language is not good, it's not shaking. Overall persona is not good.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Faman. That's very good. That's very correct. Yeah. The keyword is body language. But body language is something that sometimes we cannot control over, right? It happens
Yeah.
when it happens. It happens, and it started from your mind, the way you think, and how you feel. That will decide and dictate how your body will move. If you are really comfortable, you will use a lot of hand gestures, just like me. I'm very comfortable now, so you can see my hands are moving probably more than needed and required. You can tell that someone is very, very confident, comfortable, and feeling happy and calm when they can use many expressions, facial expressions, and he or she can get very near to the audience, as well as he or she can use a lot of hand gestures. So these are indicators that someone is really comfortable speaking. Huh? Now, I know there are many things that play in your mind when you're presenting. I'm pretty sure when you are doing PhD or masters and when you're doing research, you are a confident person yourself. I don't believe you when you say that you are not confident. That is something that is not really true. But when it comes to stage, when you are required to speak professionally, suddenly you lost the confidence. Am I right? Tiba-tiba macam biasanya aku buat hari-hari pun. And some of you are lecturers anyway, and are professional workers. You are doing presentation, in fact, for high-profile presentation almost every day. But when you're required to present for 3MT and you know for sure this is going to be judged, and you know for sure you are representing your faculty and things like that, sometimes your mind macam jadi takut. Tiba-tiba macam alamak. And then you start shaking and stammering and stuttering. So my first advice to you is fix your mind first. This is nothing. This is just another presentation in your life. You have done this for, I don't know, 100 times. Have you done 100 times presentation before this? Yes, no? If you are my age, I'm 40s. If you are my age, definitely you have done like 100 presentations at least. So just register in your mind that this is just another presentation, just to lock the confidence first. Yeah. So let me share this slide with you. Kalau ada soalan, you can always ask questions. Jangan risau. Just shoot your questions. Let me share with you. Okay.
Dr. Sharul,
Yes.
if I may ask,
Yes.
when we're presenting for 3MT, right, we want to actually sound very professional. But
Yes.
within that 3 minutes, I think it's very short time for us to present and to catch the attention of the audience. So it's like very difficult to portray our professionalism and also to try to get the attention. So how do we actually, somehow organize our ideas and also to have the presentation being laid out beautifully?
Yeah. Thank you, Farhana. Yes, good question. Now, that will be answered by Dr. Amy mostly because on how you organize and structure your content. But if I want to answer it from the perspective of charisma, I think because most of 3MT I think 3MT is scripted, meaning you can memorize it prior the presentation. So that's number one. But before you memorize it, you have to make sure that you don't look like you are memorizing it. Kita panggil apa ya? There is a term for it. Scripted spontaneity, if I'm not mistaken, something like that, something along that line. Meaning, it is scripted, we know it is scripted, and everyone in the room knows that it is scripted. But you have to make sure that it doesn't look like that. You have to make sure that. Are you speaking? Yes, Azli? Okay, that's now. Thank you, Azli. Pasal baju gitu. Okay, now, yes, you have to make sure that you don't look like you're memorizing it. So that's how people can tell whether it is professional or it's not professional. Second thing, when you are not overusing certain things, like we know that it is your research, for example, social media is your research, but you keep using the same term again and again. This is what we call cliche. When at certain point, it doesn't bring any meaning anymore to the audience. And that is when your professionalism diluted. And the third one is, well, actually, it's okay for you to have some, to stammer at certain point of your speech, just to make sure it looks organic and neutral. You got what I mean? So tak perlulah macam flawlessnya, nothing happen, macam nothing is flawed. Cannot be also, kan, we are human. So make sure it is, yeah, thank you, Nira. Make sure that it is seen as neutral as can be. Yeah, sekejap saya share. So body language, thank you very much for the question. Just freely ask questions. Kalau tak kita mengantuk, nanti kan saya shock sendiri. I will speak like endlessly.
Dr. Cheryl, if I may add.
Yes, I need to.
I'm attracted to the point that you said organic, and yes, you are allowed to have some and to see that you are not so memorizing, because some people can they memorize and they have these intonations that looks like faking, you know. The intonation is not like human talking, so we don't want that. We want you really talk like discussing, like having a scholarly discussions, things like that. Okay.
Betul, setuju. Dia tak nampak macam kita buat-buat lah. It looks, it's you anyway. So speaking of that voice, kan tadi we have done the exercise. You don't have to worry about suara you tu macam kelakar ke. Certain people, they have that low self-esteem to the extent that dia rasa voice tak sedap and things like that. Do not worry. It is God-given. It's gifted by the God. InsyaAllah, apa yang Allah bagi tu baik dan cantik dah. Yeah. So be confident with your voice and project it accordingly. That saya share. This is actually that I missed slide there, so I'm sharing the last two slides. Actually, the sequence should be I, me first and then me. Tapi for the sake of time, and nampak ke tu?
Ya, nampak.
Okay. Now, okay, body language. Ya, saya buat dia punya slideshow Okay, somehow Google Meet doesn't allow me to click slideshow, tak tahu kenapa. But pardon me, but the first one is eye contact, the 3-second rule. This is another problem, classic problem that people have problems to see people in their eyes. Well, you don't have to. I cannot have direct eye contact with people because, believe me, I'm very introverted. But I just focus on the forehead or the between the eyebrow tu, dan di tengah-tengah ni. You boleh tengok di tengah-tengah ini sahaja. You don't have to see the eyes. Risau pula daripada mata turun ke hati kan. But you can always focus on the forehead. Okay, the bigger, the shinier the forehead, the better. Like me, yeah. You focus on the forehead so that you tak perlu tengok mata dia. Sebab the moment you have the eye contact, you tend to lock your eye contact di situ. You akan tengok dia sebab orang tu ataupun orang tu macam buat muka tak best ke kan. You akan try to lock your position kepada dia saja. That's very, very dangerous. So that's why we have 3-second rules ni. 3 seconds there, because public can be large, yeah, the audience can be large. So 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'll speak to you about my research findings on the social media. This is very important for us to, jangan then apatah lagi if they are your judges, yeah, you tengok lama-lama lagi nervous lah. That's number 1. And then make sure you don't look up, jangan tengok ceiling. There's a very no-no. Or even you you lock your eyes ke lantai. That's very also dangerous. So look at the audience, but with 3 seconds. Second, posture and hand gestures. As I said, I have problems with excessive hand gestures. I try to control, but it's not easy because somehow it's part of you already. But sometimes for the sake of 3MT, you can control because it's 3 minutes from your whole life. So you can be a bit of someone else in terms of hand gestures, control, make sure that it's not excessive. And your posture also. I cannot show you how to stand from this screen. I don't know whether I can show you or not. But make sure, and when you are standing, kan, kita ada orang ada masalah. You tuck your hands in the pocket. No tuck in. You cannot tuck in the pocket. It doesn't look good. Or even you put on your waist like this, or macam ajawahi bernasyid pun tak boleh juga. Yeah, this doesn't look good. Yeah. Well, every now and then probably you can, but not all the time. Yeah. And make sure that you lock your position and stand also. Ada orang duduk kan, dia suka, especially when you have rostrum next to you, you always macam ni pegang atau macam ni kan. When in the lecture hall, I do this. Tapi when you are speaking professionally at the conferences or when you are doing 3MT, is somehow not advisable for you to lean on something ataupun on the wall. Yeah, it's not good. Sorry, you cannot see my whole body. I hope it helps. Yeah. So the way you stand is very important, and do not rock too much. Ada orang macam ni, and then they pun macam tak stable. I don't know why. Some people, the more nervous he gets or she gets, the more frequent they rock their body. Yeah, like a rocking chair, you macam bergerak. You don't feel like it, tapi sebenarnya when people are observing you, sebenarnya you are rocking your body. So do not do that. Facial expressions, when you are sad, tunjuklah muka sedih. Ada orang dia senyum all the time. They're smiling all the time for those 3 minutes. Padahal at certain points tu, dia tak gembira. Probably you are studying about penceraian di Malaysia, for example, or underprivileged students or community, for example. That's something that you have to be really embrace and feel it. Kena rasa lah benda tu. So people can tell whether it is fake or it is not fake. And people can tell. So kalau you sedih, buatlah sedih. Tapi kalau you fake, memang orang akan tahu. From your voice, and then from your eyes, yeah, make sure it is in accordance with what you are saying. Number 4, position on stage and movement. I talk about it. Tapi sebenarnya nanti probably if we have time, we can show you some samples. There are actually 3 main points saja that you can move. You can move all the way you want, kan? I've seen some speakers, Masya Allah, this is presentation in the class lah. She moved daripada depan sampai ke belakang. So, dia bergerak betul-betul. Every single row of the table, so dia masuk dan keluar, dan masuk dan keluar. I don't think it's as effective. In 3MT, of course, you have your stage. Orang kata stage is yours. Doesn't mean that you have to use all the space, kan? Ada 3 tempat yang you boleh duduk, yang you can identify lah the X that people always put on the stage, and then you can move a bit to the right. Mungkin saya kata 2 to 3 steps from the main focal point, yeah, and 2-3 steps from the main focal point. That is when you can really move. And then poses, volume, and intonation. Now, this is what me and Dr. Aimi said just now about poses. Poses can be planned. You can plan the pause. Sometimes in the middle of the sentence, just to get some attention, you can always pause. Yeah, Sharafi. at any sentence, you can always pause. For example, remember, then you pause kejap. Gitu, huh? Orang itu, oh, okay. And then baru you start. And then you continue, you resume the sentence. It doesn't have to be between paragraphs. It can be in the middle of a sentence. It can be anywhere and any point of your presentation, just to make it more dramatic. Kan? And then next, volume intonation. The fact that you want to make it dramatic doesn't mean that you have to be mellow all the time, kan? Kadang-kadang certain presenters, they are whispering all the time for the 3 minutes. Macam, huh? How do we say? So you don't have to be, well, you can use that whispering tone and technique, sikit, but not all the time. So you have to vary the tone. When you want to say something that is very factual, probably you have to use some stricter tone. Make sure the volume is full. But if it is something that is quite worrying or saddening, probably you can reduce the volume to half. Thank you also doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes I heard people say thank you very loudly. Why? It can just be when the conclusion is setting in. Actually, the thank you too is just complimentary. It doesn't have to be something that you want to emphasize on. Thank you, just thank you, thank you. Bukannya thank you. You know, it doesn't have to be full strength volume. I hope you know how to vary the intonation. But of course, later, if you have time, we will see more samples. Last but not least, managing props and slides. Now, if I'm mistaken, that rule is still enforced, that you have to have only one slide, kan? The slide to make sure it is secantik yang mungkin lah. Nanti Amy akan explain this more. And also, the slide is the visual aid, is not there to represent you. You present the slide, not otherwise. So make sure you know the point of the slide and make sure it is in accordance with what you want to say. The flow of the speech and the flow of the slide should be somehow tally. You can refer to the slide once a while, but not all the time. You can just say as shown on the slide. Or you can just remove that words. Pun tak apa, as shown on the slide. No, normally, memang semua orang ada slide, but you need to mention it again and again. And then props, I don't think props are allowed in
Still not allowed.
Yeah, props are not allowed. In FamLab, props are allowed. So it depends on what platform you use. But for the sake of 3MT, but slide is not for you to help you. Make sure the slide is as sleek as good as it can be. Okay. Now that's body language. Yes, I think yeah. Yang ni I would like to touch a bit on this. Most of these things I have nampak ke? Do's and don'ts. Can you see this?
Nampak.
Okay. Pace consistency. I think I've mentioned this just now a bit. Pace doesn't have to be too fast. It doesn't have to be too slow. But it needs a lot of practice. Certain things, when it is not really a fact, you can make it quick. But when it comes to percentage or ratio of certain statistics, where you want people to really take it home, then pause. And you can just say that, listen to me, this is very important. If you don't do this now, you're going to die tomorrow. Like clank, there's something happen, explosion will happen or something. Yeah, mesti ada satu penekanan where you stop and pause and make it a little bit slow, but not too slow. And then jargon, dejargonize. I think lah here, meaning this is very common formulation that we use lah a lot in our daily conversation. Make sure you avoid that. And short pause, as I said, this is allowable if it is not too much. Yeah. Well, I think that's allowable. because that is when you want to look natural and organic. But cannot be too much, yeah. Too much nanti orang tahu lagi lupa, yeah. Learn English versus academic English. As I said, I'm not a native speaker. I'm not good with this English language. Not really lah. I can say 30 to 40% of of proficiency only. But when it comes to competition, you have to make sure that you look like you're a native speaker. So please learn how to pronounce certain things correctly, and then please also strike certain balance between plain English and also academic English. Because, well, academic English, the one that you always write in a manuscript and your thesis. Plain English is like your daily conversation. You can strike a balance between these two. You cannot be too academic. You cannot be too plain as well. Because if it is too plain, if you notice in the rubric just now, it was mentioned that make sure that the presenter does not dilute the scientific area. Like something. Okay. I think that's all for me. As I promised, I have only 2 slides and I have to go now. But I can allow some questions because my voice is echoing. Ada ke? Ada apa-apa yang nak ditanya? Alamak, boleh ke?
Samsul, you are trying to talk, right? Maybe your microphone somehow is not good. Maybe you can leave a chat and Dr. Shahrul can respond from there. Is it okay?
Boleh dapat doktor. Terima kasih. The areas actually kawasan saya ni dia punya receiver tu agak keras sikit, but I love the subject. Love to learn from doctor as well. Nak tanya soalan doktor, boleh?
Boleh.
Yeah. So, say for example, in terms of terminology used during the process, when there's academic terminology to certain situation and there's also industrial terminology. So, does this industrial terminology can also be considered as an academic terminology? That's all. Thank you, doctor.
Okay. Thank you very much. When we say dejargonize or to make it simpler to the understanding of the public or the audience, what I meant and what we meant actually, as long as it is relatable and understandable. For example, certain things are very technical, but it's actually not that technical anymore. For example, when I say the word cliche, you can see netizens and people are using it like nothing. Or food security, for example. It used to be something very technical to understand, but I don't think it's something that too technical now. It's something that people are getting used to. Now, to answer your question, whether it is industrial term or whether it's academic term, I think you can decide whether people can understand or not. We can allow you to use certain technical terms and jargons as long as it is ensued by or followed by a proper definition of how it should be understood. You know what I mean? For example, in my term, catalyst, I cannot simplify that any further. I don't think people catalyst lah. There's nothing much that we can do about it. I cannot dejargonize it any further. But when I said the word, it is incumbent upon me to also redefine the understanding of the public. So you can use the term, whatever it is, but make sure it's also followed up by certain definition. That's how I answer it lah. That's my short response here.
Faham, terima kasih banyak.
Thank you. I think I have to leave now. You can just put your questions in the chat. Probably when I come back, I will respond to it. Thank you very much. I pass this over to Dr. Aimi, the real guru. Bye-bye. Assalamualaikum.
Salam, Dr. Shahrul. Was being too humble. Here is actually the fellow FIMLAB for 2015. Okay, allow me to share my screen. I can see all of you are excited to craft your content. So my job here is to share with you how you should should design or create your content. And okay, can you see my slide? Okay. Sorry, Dr. Mazwana, I straightly jump into.
It's okay, doctor.
Okay, thank you.
Please proceed.
Thank you so much to the IPSIS, particularly Dr. Mazwana for inviting me. Dr. Sharul, me and Dr. Sharul actually we are friends. Okay. For my background, I actually the champion for 3MT Malaysia 2014. I was representing University Putra Malaysia (UPM), and then in the same year, UPM decided to send a contestant to Trans Tasman International 3MT 2014. So I was the finalist. Being the finalist is, I think it's pun dah cukup because it's an international platform, right? And then I met a lot of good presenter that are even creative than me, and that's where I learned all about the creative presentation. And then I also the finalist for Film Lab Malaysia 2015. Other than you can also participate in Film Lab. Film Lab is whereby most of the scientists presented I mean, it is Film Lab is essentially a science communication competition whereby from there are teachers and even PhD holder that present their theory, but in a very layman term that everyone can understand. So these are all the finalists. They are from the social science and even from science, and some of them use the analogy like this one. He used the analogy of Bollywood. He's from Monash, Malaysia. He presented on the electric, but then he want to show how the vibrations work. So he used the terms Bollywood dancers suddenly come dancing together. That's how vibration works. So I think they are so creative, and even this one she presented about dyslexia. The slide is so simple. He put a mismatched words, not in a very logical order. So she started with try to read what's on the slide. You feel frustrating, so that's what dyslexia people feels like. So she brought us deeper into understanding others. So that's what is the beauty of 3-minute thesis. And this man, he's so creative that whereby he started his presentation by pointing towards the audience. The moment he pointing towards us, we feel like meremang. Kata, you are beautiful. Dia start macam tu. So they are so creative. So I hope I could bring their spirit here into Malaysia. And then later I joined finalist Film Lab Malaysia. So here are our fellow, this and Dr. Zaid. And then the next year, Dr. Sharul Nizam joined the Film Lab as well. That's where we are, all the alumni Film Lab come together lah as a science communicator in Malaysia. And then for objective of these sessions, I will help you to create a clear and concise 3-minute thesis presentation and deliver them in an engaging way. By the way, I'm from Faculty of Applied Sciences, same with Dr. Sharul Nizam. I teach in the Food Science and Technology program, but I'm also been seconded to Malaysia Institute of Transport. Okay, for today, the content of presentation, I will present on the okay, Dr. Sharizam already review on the UI 3M3 judging rubrics. But then we haven't reviewed yet the UITM starter kit. I hope all of you already review it, because throughout my presentations I will touch on this starter kit. There are somehow the it's somehow like a rubric lah, but then there are some questions that you need to address. I will address in my presentation here, and then I will help you building content based on the judging criteria, and there will be conclusions. So for 3MT and Viva Voce, I think this is the best platform for you to face your Viva Voce. Meaning that when you already master your own thesis, I know it's a very lengthy thesis, but if you can put it into concise presentations, you can describe it very concisely in 3 minutes, and then your Viva Voce will flow through nicely. Okay. I'll start my Viva Voce with my 3M3 introductions. I'll start with short one. So because we want at the first 2 minutes, we want people to grab the problem statements. People often present problem statement very lengthy. Yes, Hanani? Hanani, do you have any question? Why you raise your hand? Okay, tak ada tak apa. Alright, okay. Never mind, if you have any question, you can proceed. Okay, so this is, I really encourage you to participate. This is a good exercise for your Viva. Often we say like this lah, if you can present your thesis to makcik jemah kan, makcik jual nasi lemak, meaning that your thesis can reach larger audience. You sendiri pun dah boleh faham your thesis. That's the beauty of 3MT. Otherwise, we will short sendiri lah with our research. Okay, this is from the starter kit. In the starter kits, other than the syarat-syarat pertandingan, so there is this criteria whereby they divided into two, comprehension and content. The first one is the presentation provide an understanding of the background and significance to the research question being addressed while explaining terminology and avoiding jargons. I think this one yang Mr. Shamsul asked just now. And then did the presentation clearly describe the impact or results of the research, including conclusions and outcomes? Did the presentation follow a clear and logical sequence? Was the thesis topic, research significance, result or impact and outcome communicated in language appropriate to non-specialist audience? And did the presenter spend adequate time on each element of the presentation? Or did they elaborate for too long on one aspect, or was the presentation rushed? Okay, to answer about this comprehension and content, it's very tricky actually. I can't really give you one simple solutions or one simple template that everyone can follow. The first thing is you have to understand your research, and then do you have to know your own research, whether which terminology is hard to be understand. Then from that hard terminology, you have to come up with analogy. And so never mind, I will I already break it up, and then I have other slide after this. And then for engagement and communication, did the oration make the audience want to know more, and was the presenter careful not trivialize or generalize this research? We will cover later on. Okay, the first one, I group it. Did the presentation clearly describe the impact or results of the research, including conclusion and outcomes? Did the presentation follow a clear and logical sequence? Did the presentation spend adequate time on each element of their presentation, or did they elaborate for too long or one aspect, or was the presentation rushed? So this one, I group it as one, meaning that you have to have a good flow. You have to include the impact. While you are preparing your flow, you have to have the impact, and then you have to make sure that you divide it adequately. So for instance, the paper abstract, so you I think some of you familiar with the abstract. So in the abstract, we have general background, specific background, and then we have general knowledge gap, and then the results as well as the implications. Or in other words, kita ada introductions, problem statement, and then these two will be the problem statement. And then we have method. The experimental approach is the method. Okay. And then you have the results. Okay. And then you have the implications or the impacts. So you can follow. This is actually the common template you can use, kan, macam like paper writing lah. Okay, but the problem is the abstract is boring. If we were to follow the publication abstract, it's so dry and it is so boring. Okay, but then we have to follow that template, kan. Kita kena ada intro, kita kena ada problem statements, kan. Semua tu kena ada. It must be there. Okay, but then that's the next thing is you have to make sure that all of that becomes a story. Okay, mesti kena jadikan a story, meaning that's why Dr. Shahrul Nizam touched about plain English versus academic English. When you are writing your abstract for publications, or even perhaps some of you are preparing for DRP and research proposal defense, you already have your abstract for your proposal defense, and then some of you have as abstract for the your paper publications. Those are academic writing. Academic writing, if you were to read to our friend, even our friend will fall asleep, kan? Dan siapa yang tak tertidur? Semua mesti akan tertidur punya. Betul tak? Okay, but then what we can do is we need to create a story. This is where creativity needs to be in the place. Okay, so here is the in the over the websites, there's a lot of 3MT tips. So this one I feel that this one is the most relates to us. Okay, yang ni pun yang paling the one yang most of the 3MT presenter use. We need to have a hook. At the beginning, we have to have a hook. A hook mean, I will tell you how to prepare a hook. We have to have a hook, and then somewhere in the middles, you should introduce a humor. But then in the middles, you have to instill some seriousness, and then at the finish, you must finish with an impact. Meaning that people, when they hear your presentations, they will keep thinking about it, and then they even can bring something to home. So when you always happen to attend any conference, right? You when you listen to a lot of presentations and you can't remember any of them. Have you been there? Betul tak? You attend any conference or you attend any other pitching, kan? Even your lecture lah, kan? If your lecturer is so dry, you can't remember whatever your lecturer teach in the class because it's so dry. But then in 3MT, you have only 3 minutes. You have to have the hook, the humor, and you must finish with impact. Okay, but the framework is like this: intro, problem statement, method, gap method, results, and significance of research. Dia mesti sama. Cuma nak kena tambah ni sikit je. You have to add kita panggil the seasoning. The seasoning must be a lot in the 3MT. Okay. So in order to build the contents, so you have to know what are you going to talk about. Okay. Yes, you know about your thesis. Yes, you are master about your research. But then when you are crafting a script, you have to keep reading at which certain point that your audience will be lost. Kan? Pernah tak baca, even you lah, you are reading other publications or journals, or even you are listening to some talk, at certain point you will be lost. Kan? So if you could engage with that particular speaker in a very long time, meaning that she has or he has a good hook. Okay, same goes when you are watching a movie. What makes a good movie? I would like to ask, what makes a good movie? Anyone can answer me?
The storyline, doctor.
The storyline. Thank you, Zaki. So it's either the storyline, but then can you, Zaki, can you give one movie that you liked so much?
I think Shawshank Redemption.
Okay, so in there, what is the particular things that you remember up until today?
Unexpected ending.
Unexpected ending. Is it sad or happy?
Happy.
Happy.
Yeah.
So there is a certain things that makes a good movie, and for some people they like Transformers because it's action movie, kan? And then
Minecraft, doctor, Minecraft.
Minecraft. I haven't watched it, but how was it? I think it's humor.
Tremendously. Oh, one of the best movies, 2025, doctor.
Seriously?
I enjoy it too as well. Yep.
Yeah,
Many innovation from the kids. Imagine
okay.
that.
I think it has
Just sharing, but one of it, if I can, what do you call that, contribute to the discussion, I would say, if the topic or the subject matter can be related to many, so the first hook is already there. Perhaps
yes.
the way I look into it. Thank you, doctor.
Yeah, we are coming towards that. Yes, it must be really. Okay. For instance, like me myself, up until today, I like Now You See Me, the movie of the magicians, and then Stardust. I think men don't like the Stardust movie because it's so, fairy tales for women. But then it's there. Unlike the bad movie, that makes us sleep in the middle, kan. So what are examples of a lame movie yang you feels like the director is bad, I'm not sure whether the director or the script writer ke kan. What kind of, I think, the bad movie, the worst movie that you've watched so far? Anyone could name one or two? Tak baik kan?
Mertua. I watched in Netflix recently. The ending is really like worse because there is no ending, like what happened, at the end of the movie.
Oh, it has no ending. So
Yeah.
you feel like what happened next, and
Yeah,
then
what happened next? Like because the movie really because the watak, the mertua really play a very good, when I watch that movie I feel like like anger. I can feel the anger of the when I have that kind of if I have that kind of mother-in-law, I really piss off because he control everything, he planned everything to ruin up the marriage of her own son. So but at the end of the movie, like like the ending is like hanging.
did you put whether happy ending or bad ending there?
Yeah, it's hanging. He hanging like that. So, we don't know. So, what is the end of the like what the director want to show to us actually for this movie? Just to portray the bad attitude or the worst having that kind of mother-in-law or what? Like something that kind come to my mind when I at the end of the movie.
Got it. So that's one. And then have you watched any movie that is so jumpy? They want to use the element of flashback, but it doesn't work. And there are some movies that they try to flashback, but then this is what time, what time, and then there are some movie with a bad storyline. Okay, I think the one that tried to mimic Transformers, perhaps can, yeah, because Transformers is so robotics, they try to make one movie, but then turn out it's doesn't good as it is, kan. So there's a lot of criteria, but then now you are the director of your own script, meaning that how you want people to to stay with you for 3 minutes. With it's not as long as movie. Movie, yes, it's 2 hours, but then 3 minutes is very tricky. Kan nampak macam sekejap, but then no, it is a bit tricky when particularly when it involves listening. Okay, so I would like to suggest to you is to have a good hook at the beginning. Perhaps you can start with a short story. Okay, you can start with the belief statements or a humor or a rhetoric questions or a provocative statements or element of shock or surprise, or even ask a questions, keep a hanging questions, and even metaphors. The one that all frequently used is in my time ramai pakai imagine. So I hope this year tak ramai lah yang pakai imagine tu, because somehow it's getting judges is getting boring with the word imagine. You can ask with the questions, kan, provocative statements. One of the contestant in the Australia, he asked a provocative statements because he started with like a politicians at the beginning. So macam contoh, storytelling. Imagine a world where plants could tell us what they need. Macam tu kan, a future where farmers listen to their fields rather than guessing their needs. Ini pun it requires a good intonations to finish this sentence. Secondly, belief statements. We all believe that science is only for lab. But what if I told you that science begins the moment you step into your kitchen? Menarik kan? And then humorous hook. They say science is about trial and error. Well, I must say, I must be a scientist every time I attempt to bake. Okay, for rhetorical questions, because I'm a food scientist, so most of the hook is on the food science lah. Rhetorical questions. Have you ever wondered why your smartphone knows you better than your best friend does? Well, so kita kena sambung lah ayat dia. And then 5, provocative statement. We are so closer to solving climate change that we are to understanding why we hit snooze every morning. But this one tricky. Provocative statement ni a bit tricky lah, because sometimes we feel that it is provocative, but the culture, the culture of the community somehow tak faham. So kena hati-hati sikit when using. Please be careful when using any sentence. We feel that it is humorous, but then the moment we deliver it, it's people not laughing, ataupun we feel like this one is so sentimental, but then the moment we try to convey the message, people didn't get the sentiment of it. So that's a bit tricky. And then an even shock or surprise hook. Right now, there are trillions of bacteria living in your gut, and they might just be controlling your cravings. So, bacteria control our cravings? Ya ke? Macam tu. Kita nak benda macam tu. When you start, these people like, ya ke? Or it's not only macam tu, kita nak dia ya ke? Then we play with their emotions afterwards. Hanging questions. What if the key to curing cancer lies in the venom of tiny spider? The answer might surprise you. This one is for medical field. So what if the curing cancer lies in the venom of tiny spiders? If the judges are they might have judges from the medical field. The judges will be like, I've been in the medical field for so long. Is it as simple as that? He will start like that. So we are playing with their emotions. We try to provoke him with that questions. Then that will attract him to listen up until the ending. And then the metaphor hook. Science is like a flashlight in the dark. It doesn't eliminate the unknown, but it helps us find the way. Metaphor ni tricky sikit to use, because somehow if you choose the wrong metaphor, people won't get it. Okay. The one that I like to use is I love to use movie. Anything from the movie, but then the movie must be everyone watch lah, not like not like specific movie that people didn't, not everyone watch it. So how to choose your points, cut big theory into smaller, and then the terminology. Okay, I know your thesis in terms of cut big theory into smaller ni, I know your thesis is huge. You have 3 objectives and then the methodology pun ada 3, 4. And then objective 1 answers differently, objective 2 is on optimization, blah 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 kan. Objective yang for social science, objective 1 is for this variable, objective 2 is for this measuring. But then remember, you have one ultimate aim ataupun novelty that you are trying to achieve. So you have to focus on that one. Okay, you have to focus on that one smaller theory. Or even you can cut it out if you feel that your objective 1 is worth highlighting. So you focus on your objective 1. This is a bit tricky for me for you to get my advice, because I don't know your research. Only you knows your research. So you have to consult with your supervisor which one should you highlight. Okay, because some of you here, you are so excited, you want to tell everything that you do. That's difficult, because that's where you will lose your audience. Okay, and then in terms of terminology, I think someone did ask about the terminology. Yes, you can use your terminology. Okay, you can use the terms in your research, but then you have to elaborate it further afterwards, or you have to use analogy to elaborate afterwards. I will show you video after this, how the engineer use the analogy to elaborate his research. And then focus on the result, meaning that if tadi kita tengok dekat, we read here kan, did the presentation clearly describe the impact and or the result? Some presenter focus too much on the problem statements. Our world has this problem, what about this one, and then you forgot to highlight what is your research did. Remember this 3MT, you have to highlight your research. That's why when you prepare your script, I will show some examples after this. When you prepare your script, you have to divide into 3. The first 1 minute, and then second, and then the finals. Okay, how long should you focus on your final statement? I coach, the example that I will show you is from the last year second runner-up, Muhammad Hal Haris. I coached him from the beginning, from the faculty level up until he won the national level. Okay, and then elaborate on the focus on the results. So tell the audience what is the result of your PhD. Okay, what in your research, what will you get? So is it a framework? Is it a policy? Is it new materials? Is it a new machines, new technology? Right. For instance, like smartphone kan. I know some of you, your research is you are not building a new smartphone. You just want to improve the touching, the screen, you want to optimize the materials on the touch screen so that it will be smoother, right? Don't don't be too humble. Don't be too humble. Okay, I know you are not creating the whole smartphone, but just by creating a new touch screens, you have a big impact there. Okay, they are a big impact. It's just you have to be creative to highlight the impact. So the moment you have results, you have to highlight the impact. Okay, And then, oh forgot, yang this one, elaborate the process. Okay, before you get the result, I will prepare the sequence. Before you get the result, you have to elaborate the process first, the methods. Method kena ada dulu. Jangan lupa. Macam tadi lah, kalau you buat, if you are preparing abstract for paper or for any publication, you have to have the methods. Don't skip the method. Some presenters, they skip the method because I buat quali and quanti je, even qualitative, I just do interview. You have to highlight, you interview for how many, and then where is it, and then is it, because for instance, if you interview a deaf persons, to get a deaf persons to answer your questionnaire is difficult. It's tiring, kan? You not gather all the people to answer. Even you are asking the academia, kan? When you interview the academia, even some of the experts, to get them to answer your questionnaire, to attend your interview, it's difficult. So you have to highlight that. But be careful, you might exceed 3 minutes.
Doctor,
Yes.
if like we want to present our methodology kan, can we not use, because some methodology we use like macam the terms of doctrinal methodology, ke kita guna layman terms?
You can start with, I use doctrinal methodology. What is it? It is a method whereby I blah 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 blah.
Explain sikit lah. Okay.
You kena highlight the theory that you pakai to show that you are doing a PhD. Theory tu you have to highlight it. Okay. But then elaborate further afterwards. Okay, and then results. So the moment you have your result, okay, so bila dah ada result, so you have to present the impact, okay, the significance of research. What is its impact? Is it financial impact? Is it technological impact, educational impact, or political impact ke, kan? So you I think it's there. It's there in your DRP, in your proposal or even your paper. But then to choose which one is bigger, that's the most difficult part. Yang mana yang lagi besar, the one that is very crucial or very worth highlighting. Okay, because why? Because audience wants to know how it affects them. In order for you to decide which one is the most important, is which one is affect them. For instance, electric vehicles, kan? The introductions of electric vehicles has a lot of impact. But then the one that really impact the audience is which one? Is it political? Is it educational? Or financial? Or the environmental impact? Kan? I didn't list environmental impact here. So perhaps environmental impact. Okay, and then secondly, financial. So you can put 2 or 3, kan, banyak, but then sequence it based on the priority. Yang mana datang dulu? Okay, which one comes first? Which one is the most important? And then that's how you touch the audience. Okay, throughout 3 minutes we want the audience to, like, first they feel wow, then they will relax. The moment they relax, sit back. We don't want them to fall asleep, so we have to wake them up again. And then at the end, during the conclusions, we want them to wake up again, and then like that, have that kind of feeling. Okay, and then secondly, comprehension and content. Did the presentation provide an understanding of the background and significance to the research question being addressed while explaining the terminology and avoiding jargon? Was the thesis topic, research significance or result impacts and outcome communicated in language appropriate to non-specialist audience? I think this one yang you all worried about, kan? Boleh tak pakai, kan? Remittance is a financial term. I also don't really know, but you have to use it if it's in your thesis title. You have to use it. But then explain lah. So use analogy. My research use mass spectrometry. What is it? If you watch my 3MT video, I said that mass spectrometry machine is like a magnet. It detects the proteins, blah blah blah. Okay. And then Bitcoin, and then last year we have presented that she's from the linguistic study, so there are linguistic terms that she used, but she used analogy to explain about linguistic terms. And then this one is Dr. Mazwana's field, building information modeling. What is it? So use analogy. Building information modeling is like when you build blah 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 ke kan, it's like when you have a scaffolding ke, I'm not sure. Tapi kena ada the term that always used to use to explain analogy is like it's like, whereby it is like, use those words. That's why in 3MT it is advisable to use not so academic English. Kita pakai yang tengah-tengah punya. Academic English is writing English kan, dia macam has been dia banyak pakai past perfect tense compared to active verb. Okay, and also medical terminologies like right PCNL contohlah kan, right percutaneous blah 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 blah. You have to introduce those terms. Okay, sebab kita tak nak it's too diluted. But then macam Dr. Sharon Nizam addressed earlier kan, we don't want it's too diluted, we don't want you to dejargonize all of it. You have to show, you have to show some intellectual discussions. You have to show some kita panggil, you have to brag about your research. That's the simple term. You have to brag about the terms that you use. But please sympathize us that we don't understand what you say. So you have to explain it. Use analogy. Macam tu. Okay. And then next is the engagement and communication. Did the oration make the audience wants to know more? Was the presenter careful not to trivialize or generalize this research? This one, trivialize and the generalize ni is this one yang kita panggil to dilute lah. Jangan nak buat dia, don't make it look like this research biasa je, tak ada impact pun, there's no impact lah. This one shouldn't be PhD. We don't want people to feel that. So you have to be proud of your PhD. Okay, you have to be proud of your research. Okay, but that's why I said earlier, in building content, it's a bit it's a bit tricky, but then it's doable. But you have to be really creative. Okay. And after you present all the significance of research, you already have your methods, and then in between, so you have to deliver the final message, whereby every good story has a great ending. So you want either you want happy ending or you want a sad ending. So give it to them. And then so how you can end your presentations, you can use well-known quote, provocative idea or fact, or even questions. I like to use the second one, provocative idea, and then use rule of 3 statements, or you can connect back to the opening. If at the opening you flooded them with the questions, at the end of your presentations, don't let it hanging there. You have to answer back to the questions that you threw at the beginning. For instance, well-known quote, as Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change that you wish to see in the world. Electric cars embody that change, paving the way toward a cleaner, greener future for generations to come. What if every car running on fuel today could be replaced with electric vehicles tomorrow? The impact on our planet would be profound, proving that innovation can drive us towards sustainability. Electric cars reduce pollution, save energy, and inspire change. These 3 benefits highlight why they are not just a vehicle, but a step towards revolutionizing transportations. Yang three statement tu ni lah, reduce pollution, save energy, inspire change. So this is where intonations must come into the picture lah, kena pakai intonation yang betul. Kalau tak nanti dia jadi boring. And then connect to the point, if we started by imagining the future of driving, we've now seen how electric cars can transform it. They're just not vehicles. They are catalysts for our sustainable, cleaner tomorrow. Let me know if you like further refinements or examples tailored to the other context. Sorry. Bawah ni bukan. Okay, yang ni sebenarnya I think you can get help from AI. And this one semua I pakai Copilot. Okay. So senang, dulu masa when in 2014 we don't have AI, so I get help from linguistic lecturer from the Akademi Bahasa kan. She was a debater, so she's the creative one. Datin tu memang sangat bagus. Okay, so this one is on the text. I finish presentation dulu, nanti I akan show you the examples of the text here. So for slide, tadi siapa tadi, I think Farna kot siapa tu tadi tanya on the slide kan. For slide, don't forget if she's did give you the template slide kan, please use that slide, but then in terms of content kan, kat sini dia kata this is the examples of bad slide. You have so many chart and then you have ada gambar and then you have a lot of text. Here in the middle ada gambar yang what this picture try to tell us? Is it a medical ke apa ke kan? Okay, thank you Dr. Mazwana, she already put the template in the drive. Okay, so we don't want the audience to spend time to read your slide. We don't want that. We want just looking at your slide for the first 30 seconds and then come back to it in the middle for 5 seconds saja. And then coming back like 5 seconds saja. We don't want them to stare and try to finish reading your slide while you are presenting. We want them to focus on you because you are the star. Okay, but then don't forget some presenters really focus on presenting until they forget to relate back to the slide. Okay, I found this. Tak ada. The slide that I think the best slide for me is simple one. Even if you look at the online, if you look at my slides, there is the common template that everyone use lah. Dia akan letak titles and then they will put the we will put the method here in the middles and then the final products. Like Hal Harris last year, he used iron which is ferrum Fe in his results. So instead of put the iron molecules, I asked him to put the iron, the sereka kan, on the middles, just as a sense of humor. So you can be creative. Okay, jom kita tengok this video. I'll share this video.
Dr. Aimi, can I ask one question?
Boleh.
Regarding this slide, should we focus more on the results, the impact, because you mentioned that we should also get the audience to have a look at our impact, right? So should we, somehow just focus on the image of the research, basically on the impact straight away, the result?
The common style that people use is they are the problem, the first problem, and sebelah tu is the result. So they use problem and solution.
Problem and solution. Okay, alright. Just to get some ideas. Yeah, thank you.
But then like this one. Can you hear the audio?
I remember a couple of
Dengar tak audio dia?
Dengar.
Alright.
years back, I used to suffer from. I remember a couple of years back, I used to suffer from severe headache. And my doctor told me to go for MRI scan. You know, this huge machine with a tunnel in the middle of it. So what they did is that they put me inside this tunnel and they left me there alone in the room. After a while, the doctor came in back with his hands with some reports and some slice images of my head. And then he started to explain to me about what's happening to my head without even touching my head, without slicing my brain, thank God. But yet, he get to explain to me in detail about what's happening inside my head. I was like, wow, what kind of magic is that? What kind of technology is that? Can I use this technology to solve other problems? By the way, this technology is called tomography. Now we have a similar problem here in the engineering line, such as oil and gas, palm oil industries, and other related fields, whereby you have a pipeline, maybe up to a couple of miles in length. And inside this pipe, you have a mixture of oil, water, and gas flowing at certain speed. Now, currently, engineers are using flow meter to monitor this process. But when problem happens, such as leakage, blockage, engineers will get headache because they have to slice the pipe to find out what is happening inside. Now, to do so, obviously, you need to stop the production. Wait a minute. Did you just say stop the production? That's the worst nightmare in industry because every second you're losing money. And we are talking about a lot of money. What if I can end this nightmare? Over the past 2.5 years of my research, what I did is that I innovated the idea of tomography from the medical line into the engineering line by developing this mini MRI system. Not to scan human, but to scan liquid and gas composition inside a pipe without having the need to slice it. The secret behind this research is an open secret actually, is to use ultrasound to detect oil, water, and gas, and to interpret this information as images, because people say a picture shows 1,000 words. Let these image results provide you the thousands information you need to know about your pipe. To make things easier for the non-experts to benefit from my research, I designed this system to be portable and simple, so that even the layman will learn how to use it in just 3 minutes. Last but not least, if you have a headache in the future, and you need to go for MRI scan, hopefully you get a new idea for your second PhD. I'm Jay Suman from UTM, from Malaysia. Thank you for listening.
So Jason, in 5 years' time, where is your program? Where is your
5 years' time, huh? Hopefully I graduate first. Well, I intend to further my postdoc actually, and yeah, I switched this technology from the medical line to the engineering line. Maybe perhaps I will switch it back to the medical line, but not for MRI, but maybe to measure blood flow maybe, and to make it more smaller size, smaller scale, to fit in, maybe you can have it one in your house. Who knows? Yeah, something like that.
Thank you very much. Very ambitious.
Okay, nampak tak? Can you see how he, the one that I would like to highlight is how he start with the first, whenever you watch any video, please look at how the presenters set the problem statements, meaning that he wants every audience to know what is his problem. So I think it's until 1 minute to 36 seconds. His analogy is up until 40 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, where he explains about the MRIs, because everyone knows about MRI machines, right? Everyone knows about the MRI machines, but then later he introduced about the tomography. Tomography for liquid gas imaging. So he start lengthy. There is actually a risk like he worth taking. He start for lengthy for about 40 seconds to make sure that everyone knows how the MRI works, because that is important for his term tomography. So the moment everyone knows, MRI is actually a tomography, later on he introduced it to the engineering fields. And then if you notice, he used a lot of terms that relates to the audience, like, engineer don't want to stop the productions, thank God. You're allowed to use those terms in your presentation. He used a lot of humor. That's why he won the People Choice Award. Okay. Nampak tak? Can you get something from here? Okay.
Doktor tanya soalan.
Yes, sir.
Nampak macam teknik tu saya pernah tengok dalam Toastmaster pun ada buat macam tu. Betul ke faham saya, Doktor?
Betul. Toastmaster start with story kan. I frequently watch Toastmaster, but then remember Toastmaster is 7 minutes. It's very long. 3MT is 3 minutes, but then you have to have all the elements like problem statement. You have to have that, and then you have to have the result. You have to have the impact. So he did highlight his impact, because the moment he brought from medical field to engineering fields, and then cut the time, save the time for diagnosis of the pipes. So that's where people straight away get the impact. That's true. I know you have a lot of impact, but again, focus one by one lah, macam tu. Okay. So this is actually the draft of Hal Harris. He presented about his research is on the anthocyanin from the butterfly pea flower. Butterfly pea flower is bunga telang. Okay, bunga telang. He extract the color, but then the color cannot simply stabilize in room temperature. So he has his research is he has to find other metals that can make the color stables in the room temperature. So his research, I have to say, his research is like food. Kebanyakan research food susah nak impress. It's difficult to impress people with food kind of research. Okay, that's why here our strategy is to be a bit nakal sikit. So at first we use the title. I remember I argued with Dr. Shahrul Nizam and Dr. Mazwana. Hal used the title "The Quest for True Blue" during his UITM levels. But then when the IPSIS sent him for the national level during the coaching, I told Dr. Mazwana, can we be bold this time? Lepas Dr. Mazwana cakap, kenapa? What you want to do? I want to change his title to 50 Shades of Blue. I think kat sini yang lelaki semua dah tersenyum dengan 50 Shades ni kan. Okay. Instead of 50 Shades of Grey, I use 50 Shades of Blue. So the strategy works. Sebab kat situ, the moment he show his slide in the hall, most of the foreigners and even the guys lah in the hall was like giggling tau. So they are attracted to listen up until to the end. Same goes with the judges lah. But then it's very risky lah. It's very risky because if there is a female judges here that is totally opposed with the idea, he will straight away give 0 marks. Because this contestant for being so naughty kan. Okay. This is what I meant with dividing into 3. So there's a lot of strategy lah. Tapi Hal, the first one yang ni kita panggil the opening lah. Color blue ni is the opening, and then the green one is the middle one, and then his then lastly is on his result lah. Okay. Kalau I tak nak baca semua, but then I would like to focus on his hook. Okay, his hook. The rest is his PhD content. But then the hook lah macam contoh. So what is a synthetic colouring? Synthetic colouring are colour compound produced from coal, tar or petroleum. It is preferred by food industries due to its high thermal stability, unlike natural colouring. But it is commonly associated with toxicity issues such as hyperactivity and allergy. So I feel that this one is too long. Okay. And then so what I propose, kita tengok ni first draft kan. If you notice here, this is the first draft. You have sampai 8 draft. Sampai 8 draft yang ke-8 barulah kita terus tambah hook kat sini. But wait, what if I tell you most of the food colouring out there is made from coal, tar and petroleum? Sebelum ni, yang ni kan ayat ni, before that dia guna statement synthetic colouring are colour compound produced from coal, tar or petroleum. So this one macam dry kan, macam memberitahu, just informing. This one is asking, so it sets different tones there. Really? Yes. It is called synthetic colouring, which are widely used in food industry. So dia yang belakang ni semua sama. Okay, and then before this, if you notice, there's a terms yang you mesti kena pakai. This is where my PhD comes in. This is where my studies come in. This is where my research comes in, ataupun this is where I get my idea. So this is the important term that you kena pakai so that orang tahu, oh dia dah bagi tahu pas he is currently entering his PhD. Before this is problem statement. Okay. Before this is introductions. Okay, the moment you masuk on your PhD, orang baru nak tahu, okay, I aim to produce apa. So kat situ objective you. So this is the terms that you kena use. So macam ni kan, kalau so how can I make it stable? So he used this term to start explaining his methodology. So how can I make it stable? You don't use the term like in terms of methodology, I use blah blah blah. Boring. So you have to ask question. Kat sini pun boring sikit. Along the way in producing this metal core pigment color, I will test its thermokinetic stability and analyze its molecular structure to better explain the degradation point of my product. So what's the result? I'll tell you after my viva. Ini pun yang I masukkan lah dekat first draft. I'll tell you after my viva. Nombor 9 ni, kita tengok nombor 9. Okay, throughout producing this metal core pigment blue color, I will optimize their ratio, test its thermostability, molecular structure. Dia maintain. Kenapa saya tak buang statement nombor 9 ni? Okay, sebab come back to my point yang I told you that you have to show that you are doing some things. Dia boring. Somehow kita kena allow some certain boring sentences to show that you are doing your PhD. Ini antara contoh lah. You have to allow so that people can see that these are your process, these are your method. Tak apa. But then come back later. Later you have to come back with another hook. So here he come back with, so next time you are about to enjoy a vibrant color cookies, pause and consider opting for a healthier food coloring to avoid any future health problems. Natural colors, pure and true from fruits and veggie, a healthy hue, no chemicals or harm inside, just goodness that tastes just right. This one is kind of like it's like rhythm here. I would like to use rhythm here. So nampak ni antara contoh yang where I meant that you have to divide into 3 and then you don't prepare your script like a paragraph. Nanti you don't know where is your transitions. And then number it and then color it so that you know this is your introductions, and then at this sentence you are currently in the middles of 3 minutes, and then at this sentence, this is where my PhD comes in. You are actually approaching the last minutes. In reality, Hal will print this. Hal did print this, and then at every end of the sentence ni, during the coaching I will set the time and then I will look. This one is like 1 minute berapa-berapa, kat here kat sini berapa, 1 minit berapa-berapa, macam tu lah. Sini berapa minit, here is dah berapa minit. And the apa, if you want to get really high marks, you have to end here at 2.58, macam tu. So you thank you at 3.00. 3.00 you say thank you. That is the kita panggil the best timing ever lah. Okay, got it? Nampak dah Any questions so far? Okay, if no, I can't. Now I am approaching the final slide. So we have watched the examples of the video, and then here, Dr. Mazwana, do we have, kita ada sampai pukul berapa?
12.
Boleh tak saya ambil dalam 2 minit lagi, 3 minit lagi
Boleh. Now it's 11. You want to do the sharing session? You want to do the tutorial or the hands-on, right?
After this kita buat.
It's okay, Doctor, take your time.
Satu lagi video, I think kena tunjuk juga because this is Malaysia winner at FameLab. Although it's FameLab beza, what is different between FameLab and 3-minute thesis is they are not presenting their thesis. They present the theory lah, the broad theory of their field. Okay.
If you had to choose to fall into the arms of someone in this crowd, wouldn't you rather fall into the familiar arms of a friend? Well, that's how antibodies choose the antigens that they want to bind to be locked in a molecular embrace. In fact, antibodies can only bind antigens, which are pieces of bacteria or virus, that they've met before, that they recognize as familiar. It is this familiarity and exclusive match that forms the basis of many of our innovations in biomedical research. Particularly for my research, the specific recognition of antibody to antigen can be used as biomarkers and turned into simple diagnostic tests, like pregnancy tests, but to diagnose an infectious disease. Now, usually, antibodies recognize antigens better than you would recognize the face of a loved one in a room full of strangers. But a problem arises when sometimes antibodies mistakenly recognize a similar but different antigen, the way I might mistakenly recognize Brad Pitt as my husband when I'm not wearing my glasses. Now, this is a common problem in developing an antibody-based test, but especially to diagnose TB, a disease that afflicted 10.4 million people just in 2016. This is partly because the bacteria that causes TB, the Mycobacterium tuberculosis, has many mycobacterial cousins that our bodies constantly meet in the environment. This confuses an antibody-based test and gives rise to false positive results, which reduces its accuracy. That's why, even until today, we are stuck with methods to diagnose TB that are time-consuming, expensive, and laborious. And most importantly, they will miss the majority of people living with TB in areas without lab facilities, depriving them of a cure. That's why my research is investigating different mycobacterial antigens and how our antibodies recognize them. Hopefully, one day we can discover an antibody-antigen match that can be turned into a simple diagnostic test to diagnose TB in big hospitals as well in remote villages without running electricity. Such a discovery could be the difference between containment and spread, or life and death. Such a discovery could be an antibody antigen match made in heaven.
See how she ended her presentation with an impact. Such a discovery is match made in heaven. So those are the terms like tadi she used the word like I mistakenly Brad Pitt as my husband. So you have to insert some of those in between your presentations. In 2 minutes and 17, I could notice it's so scientific, but it's allowable. That's where her scholarly mind comes in. Okay, before I end, so you have to practice and smile and bring it on based on what we've shared with you from starting from the charisma and then now in the content clarity. So practice a lot, okay, and bring it on. I hope to see you in the GMT final UITM. So that's all from me. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aimi. Anyone who has a draft of their text and want to ask or want to get help from Dr. Aimi, maybe to check your first draft, to identify the hook or anything that you need assistance. Hazika, do you want to share? Do you want to share, or you can just share the screen and Dr. Aimi can help you on that. And others can learn as well.
Share your screen, and then when I suggest, you edit right away. Sila Hazika. Hazika will start first, and then Zaleha.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. Can you read as if you're presenting?
Okay. Imagine this. You're scrolling through Zalora, you see a pair of shoes you like, click add to cart, and it's done. Now flip that idea. What if traffickers are doing the same thing? Scrolling through social media, spotting someone vulnerable, and with just one message, one click, they add that person into a trafficking network. Is that fast, easy, and invisible? This is the reality of technology facilitated sex trafficking. The very platforms we use to shop, chat, or date are being weaponized to recruit and exploit, especially women and girls. Technology has created invisible pipelines of exploitation that move faster than our laws can respond. But here's the problem. Our laws are way behind. We're using old school laws meant for landlines and basic phones to fight traffickers who now use encrypted apps, fake social media accounts, and the dark web. It's like bridging a typewriter to a cyber war. My research looks into how traffickers are using digital tools and whether Malaysia's legal system is ready to respond. I use a doctrinal approach, which means I analyze laws, policies, and scholarly writings to understand the strengths and blind spots in our legal response. The study was done in two phases. First, I reviewed literature that explores how sex trafficking disproportionately affects women and how technology makes it worse. By giving traffickers speed, reach, and invisibility. Then, I examined key legal texts to identify whether the law is keeping pace. What I found was concerning. Many of our legal provisions don't fully capture how traffickers now operate online. It's like trying to stop a cyber criminal with tools built for different threats. This isn't just a legal gap, it's a serious risk that leaves people unprotected. My research isn't just about awareness, it's about action. I propose real legal reforms to tackle online trafficking. hold tech platforms accountable, and push for international teamwork. Because let's be real, trafficking doesn't care about borders. So why should justice stop at one? If Zalora can track every order, flag suspicious activity, and verify users in seconds, why can't our legal system do the same for lives? We need laws that move like internet, fast, smart, and global. Until then, traffickers will keep winning, not because they are smarter, but because law is slower. It's time we make technology answer to justice, not just profit. That's all.
Thank you, Hazika. Oh, nice. Okay. Right. Let's go to the up. Nak tengok. I want to see your title. Jangan. Share balik.
One comment, Hazika.
Yes.
You really need to practice what Dr. Sharul told you this morning.
Yes.
Legal, a lot of R, a lot of legal words, so might be tongue twister there. So you really need to improve your tongue twister.
Okay.
You start with using analogy Zalora kan. So
Yes.
okay, good, very good there. And then ending pun you relate back to the Zalora so you don't keep it hanging. It's very good there. Except that dekat tengah-tengah, somewhere in the what I found was consuming my legal provision blah blah blah. That's when you lose the audience.
Okay.
Situ perhaps you can add a bit. You have to shorten some words to allow some hook there.
Okay.
Okay, macam contoh how sex trafficking disproportionately affects human. If I were you, I don't use the term disproportionately because nanti I tergeliat lidah.
Oh, sure.
Disproportionately tu. So I will tergeliat lidah kat situ. And then I examine key legal texts to identify whether the law is keeping pace. What is difference with first I reviewed literature? It's look like dua kali if you combine these two words, these two sentences kan become one, so you save. Contoh, I examine key legal text to identify whether the law keeping pace. So you have 11 words there.
Okay.
So when you combine with the I reviewed literature that explore blah blah blah, so you dah save few words there. Nampak? Because tadi I set your time so you are around 2 minute 57 seconds macam tu ngam-ngam. So you can't allow any hiccups in between. Bear in mind to all, when you are practicing, somehow please allow 4 to 5 seconds buffer in case during the actual presentations you batuk ke kan, you are coughing ke kan, snorting kan, like ada hingus ke kan, kat situ dah 1 second. Okay. Alright, thank you Hazika.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Okay, next tadi Zaliha.
Share the screen, okay?
Wah, Muhammad Nur. Tadi Dr. Mazwana dah answer Muhammad Nur Slide satu je. Betul, slide satu je.
Please, everyone remember, okay, 3MT only allow one static slide. No moving image whatsoever. It's a static slide, okay?
Okay. Okay, sila baca. Silakan. Sekejap. Okay.
So saya start baca Doktor?
Boleh.
If you scroll through TikTok or Twitter today and you will likely stumble upon a viral post about race, religion and royalty. Recently, a local council or PBT, which is the BKL NPPJ was involved in taking action against a kuil haram or illegal temple built on private land. Despite the fact that the enforcement followed legal procedure and court orders, social media was flooded with emotional reactions. Some netizens accused the authorities of being anti-religion or targeting certain groups, while others defended the move, citing fairness and legal compliance. This clash of perceptions, driven by race and religion narrative, quickly become viral. And for youth who consume this content daily, it raises deeper questions. Are they become more aware and critical, or more polarized and reactive? How these viral 3R issues shape the way young Malaysians see themselves and each other. So, the 3R issues are not just hot button topics. They shape how young people see themselves and their sense of belonging, their racial identity, and how they relate to others. And more concerning, this exposure may spark microaggressive behavior that subtle acts like stereotyping, exclusion, or indirect insult that strain racial harmony. But how exactly do these 3R narrative affect youth? And to what extent do they influence racial identity formations and microaggressions? While past studies have explored racism and media effects broadly, there is a lack of quantifiable data specifically linking 3R social media content with identity and behavior among Malaysian youth. So, my study aims to quantify youth exposure to 3R issues on social media. Second, to examine the relationship between this exposure and national identity development. And thirdly, to analyze how it contributes to microaggressive behavior, both intentional and unconscious. So this research adopts a quantitative approach using structured questionnaires, and the data will be analyzed through descriptive and inferential statistical methods to explore the relationships between variables. And hopefully the finding will provide critical insight for policymakers, educators, and media strategies, enabling more thoughtful and inclusive engagement with youth. It also lays the groundwork for crafting digital literacy program and social media interventions that promote unity, empathy, and responsible expression in Malaysia. In a world driven by algorithms and trendy hashtags, understanding the true impact of 3R discourse on youth's national identity development and microaggression behavior is essential for building a more inclusive and harmonious Malaysia. So how do these viral 3R issues shape the way young Malaysians see themselves and each other? And it's based on my research, we expect to find that frequent exposure to 3R related content on social media does not necessarily make youth more informed or empathetic. Instead, it often reinforces racial boundaries, triggers identity confusions, and increases the likelihood of microaggressive behavior, especially in online interactions. In short, social media can act as both a mirror and a magnifier reflecting existing racial sentiments while implying divisions, often subtle and subconsciously. And that's why understanding that pattern isn't just academic, it's crucial for building a more resilient, inclusive Malaysian society. And I'm Zaliha, and this is my research.
Okay, Zaliha, 4 minutes, 8 seconds. Panjang. 4 minutes. I know you letak situ 2 minit 2:45 until 3 minutes kan? Have you rehearsed?
Yeah.
You rehearse 3 minutes, dapat ngam-ngam?
Cuma tadi saya ada tambah sikit dekat bahagian conclusion, so that's why dia jadi longer than 3 minutes.
Ni 4 minit 9 saat. Okay, this is what I call a very raw draft. Raw draft meaning that ni draft ni is for publication. It's not suitable for 3MT. You can shorten it lagi. Contoh, shorten, can you go to your objectives? Contoh lah kan, my study aims to quantify youth exposure to 3R issues in social media, examine the relationship between them. So ni panjang. So you pun akan, you spend kat situ I think like more than 10 seconds just to tell your objectives. So this is why I told you, pilih yang mana yang you yang paling impactful. Pilih satu. So rather than mentioning my objective is to quantify, you cakap in my study I will quantify ni. I will nombor dua, examine the relationship. I want to know how exposure and national identity is related. Guna ayat macam tu. And lastly, from there, I will analyze how it contributes to micro. Yang last, I think the most impactful one. Okay. So in terms of methodology kan, this research adopts quantitative approach using structured questionnaire and the data will be analysed through descriptive and inferential statistic kan. So I think boleh shortenkan jadi I use questionnaire. So I use structured questionnaire, and once I got the data, I will analyze it through descriptive and inferential statistic to see the relationship between variables. So variable U apa ni? Variable U. Ada highlight tak? Where did you highlight your variables? Terus macam tak nampak. Hashtag ke bukan? 3R.
Kan saya punya IV saya adalah microaggressions behaviors because there are the 3 type of microaggression behavior, micro insult, and micro invalidations. So this is my IV. My DV is a national identity development.
So, kat method tu kena tunjuklah pakai fingers lah, micro insert. So in your slide nak kena nampak 3 variables. Untuk social science, whoever in participants from social science background, please make sure that you have your variables IVDV in your slides. Kalau in the science and technology, usually you have like equipments or technology or even materials kan. For social science you want to see IVDV.
Zaliha kena improve diction lah. Diction you a bit weak.
And then she use a lot of like ayat yang berat tu tak?
Try to adjust your sentence to make it lighter. I believe that let's say significance, the findings will provide critical insight for policymakers, educators, media strategists. Dekat situ, there you can see that you have to speak a lot of policymakers, educators, media strategists. Can you group them into one special name for the users say? Because this is not my bidang, I pun tak tahulah nama dia apa kan. Insights of policymakers, educators, media strategists. You are calling this group ni apa? Respondents ke? Or users ke? Or the
authoritative
governance ke? Apa nama dia?
Okay, so if in my research, policymakers, educators and media strategists ni dia macam end users because the respondent is social media users, and then from the finding, we hope the finding can help, like the government, the policymakers to
then,
craft.
Okay, then maybe you can call them end user. But then in the introduction, you have to enlighten the audience that who is the end user, who are the end users, and then you don't have to repeat the same group. Tak payah repeat sekali policymakers, educators, media strategists. You just call it end users and we know who are the end users. This is the way to cut your text to make it shorter.
Okay.
Okay, but improve your diction. Use the one that Dr. Sharul teach this morning.
Tapi dia banyak macam swallow ataupun swallow some words ke tak? Right. Yang conclusion definitely you have to shorten.
I mean, the young Malaysians maybe kita boleh catchy words, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. So you know that young Malaysians now, starting from Gen Alpha and above lah kan, young Malaysians. So maybe you can use the catchy words.
Go back to you. Alalang sebut on the Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Can you go to your introductions? How you start your presentation? So when you like stumble upon a viral post about race, religion, anti-religion. Kat sini kena set. Kalau kita dah cakap, if you would like to use on the Gen Z Alpha kan, how this 3R issue. Oh, you want to talk about the RR? Okay, title 3R issues on social media. In the title you have to put lah race apa tadi?
In my real actual research, memang tajuk tu I make it longer lah, meaning the impact of 3R issues in bracket race, religion and royalty.
Where in the first text, in the first minutes ni, did you mention about race, royal and royalty? Race, royalty tak ada kan?
Tak ada, so I need to mention.
Ni antara contoh, it is examples of you generalize. You feel that everyone knows what is 3R. If in my context, I rasa macam cerita 3R tu respect, relax and respond.
To me 3R, recycle tu tau. Big environment, 3R tu related to reuse, recycle tu.
Okay.
So this is importance of you have to introduce your subject matter.
Maybe at the first place, you when you talk about 3R, maybe you can use something like this. But bear in mind, this is not the 3R that reuse, recycle only, but 3R is, that one is catchy enough.
I'm not talking about recycle yet. I'm talking about race, religion and royalty. Macam tu. Okay. Nampak tak? Can you see? Zaleha? Get
Can.
The rest also can you get the essence of it?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So thank you, Zaleha. So after this, who wants to share? We have until up to 12:30. We have 1 hour.
12. Anyone else who wants to share their draft? So we can advise accordingly for you to have a better script.
If I may, Dr. Mazwana.
Yes.
Rasanya the first two draft tadi, dua-duanya we didn't have clear problem statement. So the problem statement that you have for your thesis can be used directly as problem statement of your 3M3 sebenarnya. Tapi somehow betul lah Dr. Imran kata, somehow you takut orang tak faham problem statement tu, and then you make it diluted lah and generalized. To the extent kita rasa macam banyak ni isu yang nak berbincang ni. Padahal saya rasa the issue that you want to talk about in your research must be specific kan, especially for PhD lah. Jadinya make it specific, zoom in a bit. So this is where checking out, checking down comes in play lah. Contoh tadi kan 3R, all 3R issues ke, and then lepas tu definition of youth and then definition of microaggressive. So there are many things that you want to define and to tell within 3 minutes. Tapi pick one yang jadi major issue yang you rasa paling interesting and yet the most understandable. Macam tu. Because you cannot tell everything juga, tapi mesti specific. Dia tak boleh all 3R and then all, And then if I may, probably you can use yang tadi tu bagus when you use current issues. Cumanya current issues tu probably dia nampak from, it looks like news instead of your interpretation and your opinion. You faham saya tak? Cara you cerita tu is more like it's news, not like the way you say it. So do you frame it lah nanti. Tak apa, biasanya 3MT punya draft ni memang akan ditebuk dan dibedah from countless times sampailah final tu dia akan jadi far different than your first draft. Tapi it's good to have the first one lah anyway, Zaliha. Congratulations.
Okay.
Dia saya.
Yeah, Dr. Syariniza cakap. As I mentioned already lah, it's you have to go through again and again and choose which one is more impactful and the one that interesting. Macam Zaliha tadi ada 3 objektif kan. The other 1 or 2 objective tu perhaps it's common, but then the one that you really want to highlight to audience, which one?
So maksudnya doktor, if let's say I have a 3 objectives, so in my 3-minute presentation, I just show 1 or I show 3, but I just highlighted more on the most impactful.
Highlight most on the one that is most impactful. What is the novelty of your thesis? Is it the relationship or you want to know which variable, or you want to know the relationship, or which one?
Okay.
Or perhaps after the variables, you actually dah ada develop one new, you buat dashboard ke apa, ada ke? Kalau tak ada, atau you buat index ke, you buat framework ke? So if the framework is your novelty,
I have developed the framework based on my IVDV too, because actually the main idea for this thesis is like currently we only talk about cyberbully, but we didn't go into deeper to see what is the root cause of the cyberbully. So that's why from the 3R issues, when the like for example race issues highlighted in the social media, and the netizen or social media users start to comment, and like if let's say you are someone unable to control yourself, when you see that kind of post, then you start to comment, and when someone posting against your idea or your comment, then you start to comment a negative way, and from there even outside the social media, you start to have that kind of the racism on the other, like religion, individual, or different races from you. So from there, actually, the microaggression behavior already cultivate from the started from the social media, the comment, and it developed yourself, like the microaggression and the national identity affected, even though you are not using the social media. So this is actually the basic idea of this thesis. Doktor tak dengar.
Sorry, clear. Dr. Syarul ada nak komen?
Okay,
Hilang your voice. Tak dengar lah Dr. Syarul. Dr. Syarul. Hilang pula. So the tricky part about social science is it's a bit philosophical. I pun tak pandai sangat, but then it's difficult to make it catchy. Every time I coach social science, I pun having a hard time also to make it. Okay dah, baru dengar. Dr. Syarul?
Baru dengar. Okay, dengar ke? Dengar tak?
Dengar.
Baru dengar.
Okay, sorry. Ya Allah, cakap seorang punya. Okay, what I'm saying was, saya kata, I think it's better for all of you to come up with mind map, so you can see the interconnection between one issue and another. From what I understood from your presentation tadi, Zaliha, I think you are analysing the behaviour of social media users towards certain issues, betul tak? And in this case, 3R issues lah. Can you hear me, Zaliha?
Yes, betul.
Jadi, can you see the different cara saya meletakkan konteks tu dengan apa you presented? Bukan saya cakap lagi bagus, bukan. Maksud saya adalah what I said now can be another perspective of understanding your research. Maksudnya, jadi microaggression tu can be your point, your main point. Jadi yang tu kena cerita lah. Kena cerita, bukan sekarang ni cara you cerita adalah very thesis structure. Dia kena cerita macam bercakap. Maksudnya apa dulu, apa kemudian tu doesn't have to follow the structure of the thesis. Macam framework, objective. It can be rearranged sehingga you rasa macam sesuai. For example, kalau you nak start dengan have you ever noticed someone commented on things like this, something like that. Lepas tu develop from there. Tu maksudnya you ambil satu isu yang specific and then you develop and make it bigger and bigger. Framework tu can come later, probably in conclusion pun, ataupun probably the second paragraph before you finish pun boleh. So after you establish issue. Sekarang ni, when we are listening to your presentation, I hope you take it very positively. When we are listening to your presentation ni, kita rasa macam apa isu dia kat mana, macam banyak isu dia, banyak dia study. Which betul, PhD memang kena banyak benda kena buat, tetapi refine it so that orang nak dengar apa nak dengar je. People want to listen what they want to listen only. So it's not, and the basic thing in science communication is the most important people is not you, but the listeners. Dia orang nak dengar apa yang paling interesting dan paling mudah to be digested. Itu that's my take lah on you. Yeah. Okay. On the structure and the selection of issue. Sebab social science, semua isu social science memang menarik. Kami SNT susah nak buat SNT jadi menarik. That's our difficulty. Tapi for social science studies, your studies itself is interesting. Very relatable to society and community. It's just that you have to be very picky which subtopic and which area you nak kupas, which perspective. Itu saja. That's my take.
Okay.
Masa untuk draft lagi kan? Probably one last draft ke Aimi?
Ada.
Okay.
For the time being, there's one question from Kamarun Nazrin Harun. Boleh elaborate more details tak tentang challenges dalam coach social sciences?
Apa tu maksudnya apa? Dr. Aimi? What does it mean?
Challenges dalam because challenges dia adalah because I'm not in the social science background. That's the challenges lah. I'm the SNT background. So,
to coach 3MT
social science.
Itulah saya pun dah mention tadi. Maksudnya you have a lot of issues, tapi the selection of issues tu je jadi issue. So if you can really take one interesting point of your thesis and then make it bigger, then that will be nice. Kami punya masalah adalah SNT, we don't have, kami punya novelty tu mungkin 1-2 macam tu je, and then we can easily pick. Cuma our point probably not interesting to the eyes of public. Orang tu macam apa ni? Tapi kami tepat
social science, because you are do research on social science, which is has a bigger audience, and we can say that in general people can understand better compared to science, technology or engineering. Those who are in that field will appreciate it more. So a bit harder for us, those in SNT, to make other people understand, besides then the field, the one who in the field as well. Okay, but fret not, social science since kita panggil the generic lah, bidang generic, it is more challenging because since it is general public awareness, so how you can tackle audience to listen to what you want to present. Okay, social science, macam I build environment, I can be in social science and I can be in SNT. Depends on the bidang, depends on the field. Okay, but for me, I admit that social science a bit harder compared to SNT. The methodology, the way we want to carry the research, a bit harder, a bit difficult for me to grab the concept rather than science and technology. But we try our best to coach you in a way that we want you to produce a good script that everyone, disregards of their background, can understand what your thesis is all about. Okay?
Okay. So usually what I would suggest is for social science, like the first that Hazika start tadi kan, Hazika start with something that highly relate to us. Although she wants to talk about law actually kan, actually she wants to talk about the speed of the law, but she used the analogy of the speed of the online shopping. That is actually very clever. For social science, I would use to start with the sentiment. Untuk Shazam memang kena guna banyak sentiments. For instance, if may I know, Kamarul, which background are you? Are you from business or from education, Kamarul? For educations, perhaps you can relate to our child. You can relate to the parents or to the you use the community to start.
Kamarul is from information management, IM.
Information management, IM. So perhaps you do study on the disseminations of informations towards certain community kan. So you highlight on the what is the lacking for that community. Perhaps that community has been neglected for so long. So use sentiments from the beginnings, and then barulah you introduce your variables kan. What are variables that you use? Perhaps Kamarul already have a script. Can you would you like to share your script? Jangan malu-malu. Belum ready lagi tengah tak apa.
Okay,
I would like to
anyone?
echo. Yeah, sorry. I would like to echo apa yang Taimi cakap tadi. That
Putus-putus ada tu Syarul.
right.
Dr. Syarul tengah apa, rapping ke? Rap tengah rap. In the meanwhile, anyone else who want to ask or who wants to share their manuscript?
Ready with my draft, but I just want to draft my objective. So when it comes to the objective, can I just say that I take the main objective from my title, because if I take it from my specific objectives, it will be like 3 or 4 objectives. So for the 3MT, can I just take it from my title of my thesis as the objective of 3MT?
Can you read what is your title?
Using paraphrasing instruction to evaluate final year project writing engineering students. Yeah.
So the objective will be, I will
to come up with the framework of the paraphrasing instruction for paraphrasing skills of the engineering students FYP project.
To me tak ada masalah.
Tak ada masalah. Okay.
Sebab you ada end products dia kan. My research will determine several platforms for paraphrasing contoh lah kan.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Sebab kita nak the important things is hasil akhir you apa. So although it is not similar as thesis, the objective is not as in thesis. But thesis is objektif dia lain. But then objektif hasil akhir dia mesti sama dengan hasil akhir you. Final outcome. If your final outcome is want to develop to develop a platform or to develop a framework, so your objective is to develop a framework lah.
Okay, right. Clear that. Thank you.
But some I know some students will be dia a bit takut, afraid that dia tak sama dengan thesis. They want to read their thesis in 3MT. No, you cannot read your thesis in 3MT. You have to people want to know you buat apa. So ayat tu tak sama pun tak apa.
If you tell everything, that's going to be Viva and you will take like 20 minutes instead of 3 minutes kan. And itulah kesukarannya, especially when you are presenting this, especially when you are sharing this with your supervisor, and supervisor mungkin dia nak everything in there. Tapi insyaAllah with the right briefing and explanation, I think some of your supervisors also have experienced the same thing. They will understand lah. You may exclude certain things. Ambil yang sangat penting sahaja, so that it will be better suited for the audience. Saya nampak ada soalan tadi katakan tentang structure of the 3MT. That's correct. And Dr. Mas pun dah jawab soalan tu. I think yes, you have to come up with the impact of the study. Novelty, yes, and then the impact to the society. Contohnya kalau orang medik dia mudah, in the sense dia akan cakap, okay, this will cure cancer. This potentially will be your next antibiotic. It's easy to see. But your framework, for example, this will be the new reform for our education. This will be helping underprivileged students having difficulty to access to public schools, for example. So it still can be tangible, walaupun dia social science. Worry not about that. Every research yang kita buat pasti ada impact dia. Tapi play on that. Sentiment, I was saying about sentiment, I would like to echo apa Dr. Amy cakap tadi. The sentiment is right. In the beginning, use your personal anecdote, your personal experience. That can be something that you cannot use in thesis, but you can use in your in your thesis sebagai hook lah untuk buka sekejap. You have to play with that sampai habis lah. Tutup balik, you kena recap balik lah you punya intro tadi with certain impact. Remember my story in the beginning, I told you about something and then you very connect lah.
Macam last year, if Dr. Aiming and Dr. Syarul remember, the one about framework for to choose a good preschool. That one, dia punya impact is to all parents plus the governance to have one good framework for all users to choose a good syllabus in preschool. That one is social science. Very interesting research.
Yeah, very interesting. But then the student she presented like Formula One kan. She talked so fast.
Okay.
Bagus, research dia bagus.
Any more questions? Lagi bagus kalau soalan tu spesifik tau. If the question is specific to your draft, it will be better for us to comment. Kalau tak nanti kami generate je, betul tak Amy?
Betul. I know you, I think all of them here ni kan, they are they tak adalah malu. I think they are nak suruh research ni kot.
Nak suruh.
Okay, ada lagi tak? Ada request from Zaliha, boleh tak dapat satu lagi sesi consult final draft sebelum hari pertandingan? Yang ni depends pada availability of the trainers. Ini pun I nak dapat those two ni dalam satu session ni jenuh juga. We are planning starting from January until April baru boleh.
Itulah kata kalau ada sangat-sangat membantu sebab SEM ni pun saya plan untuk saya punya DRP, saya dah submit, tunggu date untuk DRP. So actually 3MT ni dengan hari ni punya session memang sangat-sangat membantu lah, memberi saya lebih confident and open.
Maybe boleh contact personal lah. Sebab I cannot promise there will be another session. But you can always contact them personally. Okay? Alright, any 11:52. Anyone else who want to ask anything regarding the 3MT or how to produce a good text, a good manuscript, a good script?
Assalamualaikum. Boleh saya tanya ke?
Boleh.
Berkenaan dengan 3MT ni, untuk pertandingan 3MT di peringkat UiTM, kita selalunya akan ikut kepada fakulti kan. Cuma kadang-kadang ada setengah fakulti yang dia ada bidang yang macam social science dan SNT tu macam bergabung lah. So macam contoh kalau bawah pertanian, dia ada juga agribusiness, dia ada agriculture economics kan. So bila masuk 3MT tu kadang-kadang diletakkan di bawah SNT tapi topik tu lebih kepada social science lah. So macam nak tanya, in that case tu memang selalunya kita akan ikut pada fakulti ke atau supposedly by topik lah yang kita akan present?
Kalau ikut saya, ikut faculty. However, you can highlight to us that your topic is leaning towards social science. So I can channel you to the correct cluster. Okay, but according to faculty, first I will filter it according to the faculty. Second, you can highlight to us that you are doing something related to, say, agro technology. You are doing something on business, on agro. Definitely, I cannot put you in science and technology. I have to put you in business cluster. Okay, but please highlight to us. I don't know about your research. You have to tell us. Alright?
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Hanani, I have not yet fully prepared the draft, but main output is the map by using GIS. So is it the main context from my presentation is about rare tree species, map significance. Oh, GIS.
KB ya.
Ni geng-geng SUG ni. So it's the main context. Rare tree species, map significance if you are using the GIS to identify the species using the map, then can.
I think the significance is that don't be humble. Highlight, what is it?
Doctor.
Yeah.
Actually saya from applied science and then macam I have like those 4 objective and the main output adalah untuk develop a map to locate rare tree species. So actually macam nak identify rare tree species is from field work and then later baru saya macam visualize in the form of map. So macam so is it
a map lah.
Macam sebab that one tak ada lagi lah produce. So macam tu lah.
Why
So
you want
should
to map
I
the tree? Why you want to map the tree?
okay, because the main output is the main significant is on the rare tree species sebab those rare tree species if kita macam misclassified or misidentified then those rare tree species will go extinct. So that's why I focus on rare tree species. So macam so patut ke saya explain it macam
I'm helping you. So what are the rare tree species that you are highlighting?
Okay, actually macam setiap saya buat dekat 3 hutan. So macam dekat setiap hutan tu ada different rare tree species based on 3 parameter. So total of 400 species lah yang I identify in the form of map tu. So tu ke perlu macam saya explain by not define lah macam to explain the importance of rare tree species first ke?
You can relate to the yang ni you boleh bawa kita ke penceritaan zaman dahulu. How many species that we have but now how many left statistically but how many left. So bila kita lost this permata berharga apa impact dia kepada negara kita. So then this is where my research comes in. I would like to map this in to know where this tree is located all around Malaysia. Why you want to know where this map? What next you can do? Takkan map tu you bias itu. So this is important for the forestry department, betul tak?
Betul.
And for the biodiversity.
And then mention jugalah contribution of the map tu
Itu novelty. You punya product akhir outcome is the map, betul tak?
Betul.
Nampak tak sini? You are being too humble. You are being too humble. Ada banyak kat situ. Cuma you need the right help to dig it up.
Betul. Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome. Okay, Sharaf.
Sharafuddin, if you want to share, the slide, if you want to share the your draft.
Saya macam kenal Sharafuddin ni.
Hai Doktor.
Pernah masuk train TV before this ya?
No, saya tak pun. Tapi saya ada kat situ.
I see.
Okay, share the draft. It's okay if you are not fully practiced yet, but we try to help in any way that we can. Okay, share screen
Okay. Can everyone see my script?
Yes.
Okay.
Besarkan sikit boleh?
Besarkan? Okay, I'll try to zoom in.
Okay.
Is it big enough? Is it clear enough?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So what time is it? Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So I just studied or
Start right away.
okay, Bismillah. I have a question to the floor. How many of you have seen this animal? Perhaps some of you might even have touched it. Now picture this. You are walking in a grocery store looking for your favorite snacks, maybe chocolates, marshmallow, or gummy bears for the kids. Oh, or maybe beauty supplements to look younger, only to discover that this pink mammal has silently sneaked in into those very products. But how? Most snacks and supplements consist of gelatin and collagen. They give better structure and texture. Yet, the origins of these ingredients remain a mystery. Did you know that a 90% of gelatin and collagen produced globally from pork? For Muslims, this raises significant concerns. But fear not, because where there's a problem, a hero rises. Just like Tom Cruise on a mission trying to catch criminal from within society. I embark on similar operation, uncovering the truth and exposing lies. Although it has been widely incorporated in F&B and even pharmaceuticals industries, identifying the culprit with precision remains a challenge. Therefore, in this quest, a unique approach has been addressed. Instead of using DNA as the conventional way, I will find the culprit by analyzing protein. Yes, protein. For your information, during industrial process, DNA integrity can be compromised due to high temperatures, chemical treatments, and mechanical stress. Protein, on the other hand, offers stability and can retain their unique sequences. I aim to search for porcine-specific biomarkers, which designed to act as unique fingerprints, allowing us to distinguish porcine gelatin and collagen from other sources. I use advanced technology called liquid chromatography quadruple trap mass spectrometry. It works like a biometric scanner, where it can recognize different patterns and unique sequence of protein within complex mixture. Whether it's pork, chicken, or beef, nothing remains in the shadows. In other words, it operates exactly like a thumbprint machine, where it uniquely distinguishes individuals. By successfully developing biomarkers, my research uncovers the secrets buried within these ingredients, hence assisting government bodies in solving food crime. I believe this mission is more than just science. It's a commitment to empower consumers worldwide, protect their choices, and contribute to making the world a better place. So, next time you are strolling in a market, feel free to buy whatever you need because there's always me protecting you. Mission accomplished.
Dan.
That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, silakan Syarul untuk komen.
Ini research Aimi dia kurang ni. Silakan Aimi, silakan.
Ya, tak ada volunteer ni student I, so I takkan nak komen
I
sangat.
see, okay.
So silakan komen.
Okay, nice, nice structure. Cuma boleh dikemaskan lagi. Kemaskan lagi dari segi intro ni kan. When you want to ask questions, just shoot it out. Tak perlu cakap, I have a question to the floor and things like that. Yeah. I think the first sentence tu can be removed totally. Lepas tu, picture this okay lah. Start with picture this, you're working grocery store and things like that tu boleh. And some tips for other people juga. Ask people to visualize things. People will remember things better through visualization. You are the slide, bagus. And then ask them to visualize at the same time. So you can go straight to pasal ni lah, pasal gummy bears dan sebagainya lah. Tapi as I said, when we are telling stories, dia tak boleh banyak benda yang orang kena ingat. Contohnya kan you cakap I can pick few things. Chocolates, marshmallow, gummy bears, supplements, you know, there are many things kat sini yang you macam nak fokus. You boleh pick satu contohnya. I know everyone wants to look pretty and beauty, but be careful when you are choosing the supplements. Some supplements may have terus masuk. Ataupun you cakap, I have a kid who loves gummy bears, but as a parent you have to be very careful. You know, dia terus apa tu. Jadi
Satu je kan.
And dia cakap lah gelatin dan supaya ni kan banyak kan snack, supplements and pada saya lah. And then baru terus masuk perkataan terakhir tu bagus. You cakap consists of gelatin, and from gelatin you jadikan dia sebagai introduction dalam yang hijau tu. So that's how you interconnect between one content to another lah. Because certain people akan forget dia akan sebut gelatin kat first paragraph. Second paragraph tak ada langsung ke gelatin, and then nanti later baru ada gelatin. That's why I said structure-wise dia nampak kemas dah. Cuma again selection. Remember, people punya attention span is getting lower and lower. It used to be 1 hour, it used to be 20 minutes. This is real study, and now probably 3 to 5 minutes saja orang punya attention. And within that given time frame, people can remember only probably 1 or 2 things through listening. Visualization, better retention. Jadi writing, better retention. Jadi gunakan maklumat profiling orang ni. Dan remember, orang depan you ni adalah orang yang bertanding dan mungkin gunakan less. Dia pun nak fikir saja dia punya. Judges dia mungkin interested, and public yang lain lah, penyokong dan lain. So, pilih yang mana you rasa macam kalau ramai perempuan, probably beauty is the good thing to start with. Dan kalau macam ramai parents, probably lebih best kot. Pilih the profile juga audience tu supaya dia lebih better suited lah untuk orang itu. Content wise tak ada masalah, structure tak ada masalah pada saya, tapi kekemasan perkataan lah dan story itu saja.
Faham.
Okay. Oh, you have a good coach SUSB. Allah bertuah sangat.
Coach dia dah okey dah, so
Ya Allah, anak-anak murid saya semua tak nak masuk.
hafal ni. Coach dah okey.
Student semua tak nak masuk 3MT.
Sudah baru cakap dah ada giling kepala.
Kalau betul.
Dia kena paksa ni.
And story ni pun, I think this research is very tangible. It's very macam ni. Dia senang kait dengan orang, very relatable. So gunakan advantage tu.
But Dr. Aimi,
Yes.
kalau I think it is better untuk masukkan currently dekat Malaysia, sebab I pernah come across dengan one of my friend yang buat DNA testing strip tau. Maybe boleh masukkan juga currently dekat Malaysia tak ada lagi ke atau dah ada, but limitationnya apa, and then you come to rescue which part of DNA strip ni. So lagi-lagi nampak lah that this research indeed is important. Dalam Malaysia limited lagi. Maybe yang ada sekarang, strip sekarang cover on DNA which part of blah blah blah. Macam tu. If it is possible lah.
Boleh sebab tu kami pun macam DNA integrity ni the public tak boleh nak catch up sangat. Dia tak faham what is DNA integrity. So if we questions the existing kit di dalam pasaran not as accurate kan, macam contoh COVID test lah kan, hari ni positif besok negatif kan, padahal hari-hari dah test kan. Kita guna yang tu lah, analogi yang tu lah nanti. Thank you Dr. Mazwana for suggestion.
Thank you Doctor. I'll try to improve next time insyaAllah.
InsyaAllah. All the best. Dia practice and practice. Itu je keywords ni. Okay, anyone else or the rest who in this room, please fill in the feedback form. Otherwise, I cannot issue the certificate for you if I don't receive your feedback form. Okay, so ada lagi tak? It is 12:07 now. If there's no more sharing, okay, feel free to email Dr. Sharul and Dr. Aimi if you have any question or you need help regarding the 3MT text. And I really hope that Dr. Sharul and Dr. Aimi can help them.
Boleh.
Okay. InsyaAllah. I really want to see those in this session to be a participant in the upcoming 3MT competition. So all the best, good luck, practice well. Last word from Dr. Sharul and Dr. Aimi.
Dr. Sharul?
Yeah, I wish all the best to everyone. I think take this as the learning curve, because winning or losing is secondary lah, but the values and the things that you learn throughout this journey will help you to become a better person, insyaAllah. All the best, and hopefully we'll have one winner, national winner from your ITM soon.
Yeah, for sure. Same with me. Last year we sent 4 contestants. 2 two of them is in the final of SNT. Imagine dua UiTM dekat final, ada 4 orang, final 4 orang Dr. Mazwan, 4 ke 6?
Final
6 kan.
6, tapi selalu kita ada starting last year kita ada wildcard kan Dr. Syarul. So jadi 8. Tapi basically 6 lah. Kalau ada wildcard kita tarik lagi dulu.
Kan, last year we sent 2 SNT representative and both of them are in final. So we hope this year we could discover more talents and they will be in final and hopefully the champion too. And I know ada je hidden talent here in this room. Hopefully we have an emerging winners from here. Okay. Thank you. Back to you to Dr. Mazwana.
Okay, so thank you very much again for your time to all both speakers, both trainers and the participants as well. Saya doakan everyone excel in their studies, in their research, can complete it successfully and 3MP ada rezeki boleh menang. Okay, thank you again. Jangan lupa isi feedback form. Okay, kejap I nak, boleh tak yang ada lagi dekat dalam session ni on camera, I nak tangkap gambar dia.
Dr. sorry mencela. Can I ask one last question?
Boleh.
Untuk faculty punya level, is it gonna be a live competition or a recorded session only?
Sekarang semua live. Nanti final pun live.
Oh dah live.
Live dekat IBE, International Business Excellence punya ruang dekat Library Pita.
Oh, that one for national UiTM level kan? Yang kalau
UiTM level, national level as well dekat UPM pun live. Dia bukan recording.
Oh.
Asia Pacific level sahaja yang masih recording.
Okay. Thank you, Doktor.
Alright. So sekejap nak tangkap gambar siapa yang masih ada. Right, Harani dah buka dah video tadi, tutup balik. Oh, adjust angle. Alright. So, alright. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, thank you everyone. Thank you for your time. See you again. Hopefully to meet everyone of you dekat 3MP. Alright, thank you. Wassalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you Dr. Mazwan.
Waalaikumsalam.
Recording nanti I letak dekat YouTube YouTube Thesis. Nanti I bagi sekali dekat dalam email address dia. Thank you.